show is definitely tailored for the leaders out there. We often, as leaders, have all sorts of stuff going on for us and problems we have to deal with. So today we're going to be talking with the amazing Dora, who's going to share some insights about the biggest problems leaders have and how coaching support can help.
Hi, Maureen.
Welcome, Dora.
Hi, Maureen. Good to see you.
I can't hear you at the moment, so it's a bit problematic.
Can you hear me now? Let me adjust
If it's my end or not.
Is that a bit better, Maureen?
Can
How's
you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. We've got a technical issue to start the show. The key breakthrough leaders usually have through coaching. Hey, Dora, I'm actually going to go back. I'm going to go out and come back in because I just like to roll with the punches. Would you like to share a little bit about yourself with the viewers and your journey around your support of leaders? And I'll be back in 2 minutes.
You bet. Hi, everybody. My name is Dora, and I work for an organisation called HR Gurus, where we love to support leaders to bring out the best in themselves as well as their teams. I have a background in psychology. I studied psychology at university along with drama and English literature, bit of a nice combo, and have been working for the last 20 years in the leadership space. For some reason, I get science and technical experts, and I'm not a scientist and I'm not a technical expert at all, but obviously the soft skills that I can provide to really difficult kind of environments that really need human connection is my superpower, and I'm kind of really happy to have it because I like making a difference, and I really like seeing leaders and organizations and their people have really great aha moments about how they bring out the best in all of their staff. So I'm kind of free-forming here now on my own, so I'm going to kickstart it with you know, some of the things that I see all the time when I'm coaching leaders is we start a conversation. Yeah, they call us up and they go, oh, you know, we really want some support for our people because, you know, there's stuff that's not working really well, and we really want you to come and fix it. And what we do is I find that I'm expected to go in there with a packet of Band-Aids and you know, do the quick fix. Let's make it all, you know, rosy, and that never happens with people. So what we do is we really uncover, and I find that I really uncover with leaders what their key pain points are, not by talking about what they thought they called me in for, but really uncovering what the culture of an organization looks like. And what we find is that the minute we uncover what the culture of an organization looks like, there's some areas, or there's some habits, if you like, that create an environment that we work in that can actually make things uncomfortable, or they can make things feel not the way we thought they were going to be. So, for example, you know, you walk into an organization and the leader starts talking to you about, oh, yeah, we really want, you know, X, Y, and Z as our culture. And you ask a simple question like, well, you know, what's the current reality? What are people doing right now? And the minute the leaders start to tell us around what people are doing, you can see that a lot of the time that the best intentions that everybody has is actually leading them on a pathway to hell, on the road to hell. Yeah. So what does that mean? It basically means that we're busy, and we're always busy, and we want to get more out of our people, and find ways that they can work more efficiently. But we're forgetting that, it is. Charles has just asked, is it the same for large and small organisations? We mainly work with small to medium-sized organisations. So the larger, more sophisticated organisations seem to have processes in place and protocols that people have to follow, whereas smaller organisations freeform. And they think that they're doing the right thing because, they might, provide lunch or something. But what they're really doing is they're not treating their people in the best possible way in order to get the best outcomes for their business. So that might look a little bit like, there's Maureen again.
Yeah, keep going.
I've been free-forming like crazy, Maureen.
Awesome.
I even had a little person in the background. There you go, just for added stuff. The joys of homeschooling.
Yeah, love it. So you've just been mainly talking about who you work with?
Yeah, so we work with mainly small to medium-sized organisations. And Maureen, what I've been free-forming around is that, we ask people what their current reality is in the workplace, and leaders, what their current reality is in the workplace, so that they can give us real insights into what their perception is. Now, I find as a coach that, it's a little bit like a picture that has two pictures in it. Yeah, we've all seen those images of, two faces looking at each other, and then in the middle of it, there's a jar or a candlestick. And people see things that they want to see. Therefore, individuals and leaders see problems from their perspective in the way that they want to see them. Yeah? And that looks like, this is a problem, this person is a problem, the way that they operate might be an issue. But through our coaching, what we really uncover is that there's a disconnect more often than not between individuals being able to have or show enough empathy to another person to really listen to understand something from another person's point of view. And start So
on that, so do you find that people make decisions about people early on? Just say as a leader, someone did something that you didn't agree with, or they behaved in a certain way, so therefore you tend to have that bias against them from then on?
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. It's about that rapport building. And some people get along straight away. Yeah, like attracts like. We start finding things in common and we get along straight away. And sometimes we have people in our teams that we value the work that they do, but we just don't like them. Yeah. So they miss out on opportunities, or if something is a pain point, it's really easy to point the finger at that person, or, roll your eyes and sort of say, well, of course that's not going to happen the way we want it to happen because Dora's doing that, and you know what Dora's like. Whereas as a leader, you have to step out of that zone. The most important thing in leadership is igniting action in others and bringing out the best in every single person that you've got in your team. There should be almost like an electric fence that zaps you if you feel that you want to treat one person differently from another person. So I think that a lot of the time, Maureen, in my very first coaching conversation with a leader, it's really quite confronting for them, because, I have to ask really tough questions to them that actually bring up the mirror of self-reflection that says, what am I accountable for as a leader, and what am I doing that isn't actually bringing out the best in the other person, the best in the team member, regardless of what my personal opinion might be.
Yeah, great. And so what do leaders on, the surface, before they've looked in the mirror, what, because this might resonate with people, what sort of problems do they talk about before they've looked in the mirror? And then what might they transfer to becoming once they have?
Yeah. So one of the things that that I find quite regular is that before they have that chance to self-reflect, it's about all the things that are going wrong because other people are doing things that they don't agree with. So it's a bit of control. Yeah. Everybody loves to control, even when they say they don't like to control. And the most common thread is this is what it's meant to look like, and we're just not there. Yeah, I've done everything in my power. I'm such a good manager. I provide all the opportunities for these people to do their best, but I just can't get them over the line.
Yeah, I love that. So there's this thing of I've done everything in my power. And it's almost like not taking responsibility to look at yourself because you believe that you've done what you need to do as a leader.
Yeah. I love the analogy of parenting when it comes to leadership. Yeah. And it's like forcing your children to do activities. Yeah. Like ballet or soccer, or whatever it might be that maybe you missed out on as a kid, and you're projecting. Yeah, you're vicarious living through that element, and the kid hates it. So they're just looking at you going, I don't really want to go to ballet. I hate ballet.
Yeah.
And this is what leaders do. They think that because they've gotten to that point and they've been subject matter experts. Yeah, so they've been really good at what they do. And then they get into this leadership role and they think that by telling people how to do something because they were really good at it, that's leadership. And it's not.
Yeah.
And you miss opportunities to actually ask amazing questions to your direct reports that can spark action in them and spark innovation and spark like amazing brainstorming, and that becomes the say less and listen more becomes a very common thread in what leadership is missing today.
Yeah, and I love that analogy, and I love the say less and listen more. But it also feels like, getting back to your parenting analogy, of listening to your children, saying what is it that you want to do, because they might not want to do ballet, but they might want to do hip hop.
Correct.
And so your aim might be just to get for them to have enjoyment and be fit. And so the outcome's the same, but it might be a different methodology of getting there. Whereas from what you've said, it's like the leaders almost saying one way or the highway.
And Maureen, this is really an interesting concept because we've been talking about this for a really long time in the leadership space, but human behavior can't help itself. Yeah. When I know how to do something, I just very naturally want you to do it my way. Yeah. When I know that something is going to be good for you, I want you to do it. And this is what leaders do, regardless of whether they're millennials or Gen Xers. It's kind of almost like the natural dictator comes out. And what we facilitate really effectively in leadership coaching is that we bring out the collaborator. Yeah. Because when individuals can work together, we're all adults in the workplace, and we all come to work with the desire to do a good job. Yeah. If that mindset can be the first thing that you think as a leader coming in to the workplace, whether it's logging on in the morning or whether it's, actually being able to drive in and walk through those glass doors, it really is about thinking, what can we do as a group together? how can I guide this flock so that they can continue to do their great work, and I can support them without removing the responsibility of their own ownership.
Yeah. I've got a question about that. So if it's innate in us to have a little bit of a dictator tendencies, so it comes from a good place because we know
100%.
when we want to share.
Road
If
to hell
that's
is
our
paved with
default,
good
and we've been
intentions.
doing it since we started learning stuff, like even as a kid, do the Lego this way, here, this is how it's done. How do you overcome that when some of these leaders have been leading for 20 years?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the first step is self-awareness. And self-awareness comes from really reflecting on what are my key preferences. I know that not all organisations prefer to, but we find at HR Gurus just using a DISC profile as a platform starts the ball rolling in a discussion that says, I have one preference over another. Now, because I have a preference doesn't mean that I'm in the box. Yeah, it's a choice. As adults, we make a choice. And when we know what our natural style is, then we can make a choice to deviate away from it if we feel confident and comfortable to do so.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm not very dominating. So when I'm leading, I can sometimes be taken over by more dominating characteristics. Yeah. So if that's the natural tendency, but I know that I've got a group of really tough people that are quite dominating, I have to make a choice as a leader to step it up a bit, to ramp it up a bit so that I can actually meet my team the way they need to be met.
Yeah, and that's great because I go either way with some of the measurement tools. But what I like about what you said is that there is choice. It's a guide, and you've got a choice around it. Because I hear so many people say, "Give me an acronym of what they are," and so therefore that's what they are.
No.
I think the tests sometimes aren't used very well in organisations. You just want to categorise people without, as you said there before, without using them in a way where people can change or grow. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I really don't want anybody to feel that they're in a box. Yeah, the box is gone. There is no place for a box anymore. We have so much information on hand that as individuals today, we are empowered with really fantastic choices. Awareness, though, of what I revert back to under crisis allows me to prepare to grow. So if I know that I have a tendency to, fight or flight when I'm in a crisis, when I know that, I can work on it as an adult. And when I'm working on it as an adult, it means that I can acknowledge it when it's happening, and then I can sit with it and I can prepare to confront or to present or to show up, show up and actually own whatever it might be with confidence, because I'm not bound by what my tendency is as an adult.
Yeah. And I love what you said there. You're going to revert back to do what you always do in a crisis. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've got this one manager. He's absolutely gorgeous. And his go-to is when everything gets out of control, he just wants to fix it. Yeah. And I've had to make him put a poster on his wall, I will not fix it. Because that is the tendency. And that is how he feels. He puts on his superhero cape and actually makes things better for other people. What do you think that stops, though? You know,
Yeah.
it stops the learning. It stops another person, you know, making a mistake. And from making that mistake, you actually learn to grow and you learn to fix it yourself. Yeah, it's the analogy that I love here is, you know, back in the olden days when we first started driving our cars and, you know, we couldn't afford RACV, ride, you know, side of the road assistance. If the wheel had a flat tire, you had to be able to fix it yourself.
Yeah.
So the first thing your dad did when you learnt how to drive was he also showed you how to change the tire, right?
Yeah.
So this is the analogy of the leader in the workplace, is that you want to be able to use opportunities where people make mistakes or where people want to learn or where people can grow or where people can share, so that you can actually give them the tools to be able to change their own tire and then come and show you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I changed my tire. Was this the right way to do it? Oh, that looks really great. But, you know, you might want to, you know, screw the screws on a little bit harder.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of this concept of mistakes, now we say it, it's bandied around, you know, make mistakes and you grow. In some organisations, I think there's still a fear of making mistakes. And what about, you know, like big finance organisations or something where mistakes can be, you know, have really detrimental effects? Like, where's the line there?
So, yeah, that's a really good question. Have you ever been in a position, Maureen, where you've stuffed up?
Yes.
I know you haven't because you're
daily.
But someone was relying on you for something and you've really royally stuffed it up, right?
Yep.
So you have a choice as an adult. Yeah. The choice is I own it and I deal with it, or I hide behind it and I hope that it goes away. I don't know about you, but at the ripe old age of 51, I've found throughout my career that the minute you own it and you show up and deal with it, it becomes, it doesn't go from an ant problem to an elephant problem. Yeah. It becomes an opportunity to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Rather than to sit in the problem. Yes, it's going to cost money. Yes, things will go wrong. And if people just feel that they, or the only option is to just be told off, it paralyzes. Whereas being able to go, yeah, that probably wasn't the best choice to make. You know, it's a right royal stuff up. Let's fix it. And then let's have a conversation about what the learning is and what alternative choices you might do next time so that it doesn't happen again. And you're actually empowered with the right information from now to be able to do things differently.
Yeah.
Because when you know, you know. Yep, sorry.
I love the analogy of the ant problem versus the elephant problem. And from what you're saying, it's like even though sometimes people think it's an elephant, it's only an ant, but if they leave it, it will turn into an elephant.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question I ask people when they are dealing with what they call problematic people is that person a problem for everyone, or is that person a problem for you?
Yeah.
Because if it's just a problem for you, then this is another moment where you can self-reflect and go, what is it about Dora that I don't like? Yeah. And is it just me that she annoys, or is it really her as a person that has a ripple effect of causing problems or causing issues?
Yeah. And can I share what happened with us, which was a similar thing where there was someone that I didn't see as a problem. I found very valuable, and they were in a leadership role in our business. But the message was from 12 other people that there was a problem there. So it's sort of a little bit reversed where, so the question is they're not a problem with me, but they were a problem with other people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily they're a bad, evil person. They were a problem in the team in that role.
So Maureen, this is where we look at the behavior. Yeah. So you are not your behavior. Yeah. You learn behaviors to survive. And a lot of the time as adults, when we have these behaviors reflected back to us through coaching or through conversations, we either acknowledge it and go, yeah, I do that. Do I want to keep doing that and keep getting the results that I'm getting? Or do I want to make a different choice?
Yeah.
And if you want to make a different choice, what you find, and this is what the coaching does nearly, actually, I'm going to say 100% of my coaching does this, where people's aha moment is about, oh, yeah, I could do that differently. Yeah. I could make a different choice and be better. Yeah, not better as in improved, brand new, shiny model, but actually make other people feel better. And because I'm making other people feel better, then my relationships are better. And when my relationships are better, it's easier to collaborate. And when it's easier to collaborate, then we can get really good results.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm loving, thank you for your feedback, Cassie. Did you know that 12 people felt this way? You cannot change if no one tells you. So that's a good one, Cassie. So this is one of the people viewing today who's just sharing the insights there. So Dora, what's your take on that? So I wouldn't know unless the people shared that with me. So what should I do there? Or what should a person do in that situation?
So this is where in a working environment, what we want to foster, Maureen, is psychological safety. And psychological safety is really around people being able to give each other feedback without feeling that it's going to cause problems and drama. And if you weren't aware of it, then, my insights would be, why weren't you aware of it? Why were 12 other people feeling a particular way without having the opportunity to have a conversation about it? So as a leader, I would be saying, Maureen, how are you tapping into the needs of your staff and the conversations that you're having about their stakeholder engagement and their relationships with each other?
Yeah. And that's a really great one. The thing was, this is a nuance to it. So thanks, Kathy. I'm loving all this input. I did hear it, but it's like a boyfriend that you've got that you think is really great, even though all your friends tell you that they're shit. So for me, I was listening to it, but I had this. I was going, but this is a good person, and they have good intentions. But I wasn't listening to the nuances of it not being the right person for our team at this time in that role.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Maureen, what that does is, sometimes toxic people present really well where they want to present really well.
You're telling me today, Dora, aren't you?
I am sorry. This is how brutal coaching becomes, because it's about the Truth Serum. And I think this is why it's such a great medium for success, because we in Australia today, we are all so goddamn polite to one another. Yeah. It reminds me of when I worked in Athens, and everybody just tells you as it is, like if you're hot, they come in the morning, they go, hey, you look hot. Yeah. And if you're not, they tell you, they go, oh my God, you look disgusting. Go home and put some makeup on. Yeah. And it's truth. And it rolls easy off the tongue. But Australian culture is very polite, and we do not want to rock the boat. So we get to these leadership roles and we're still really polite and we don't see the shitstorm coming. So it's really important when we are coaching leaders that we can break down the barriers or take off their rose-colored glasses so that they can see themselves and they can see what they do and they can actually make a difference and do it better.
Yeah. I love it. So it sounds like it's really there's a bit of the person, but there's also the way that our culture has developed over the years with political correctness and being kind to others, and it's sort of morphed into a place now where we're not having those straightforward conversations like maybe we would have in the past.
100%. Yeah.
Now, Dora, I could talk to you for hours, as you know, because you're so insightful, and I've learnt a lot today. So we'd love to have you back another time.
You bet.
Because we've got lots of positive feedback from people viewing today's show. But if people want to act right now and get some support, so they might be a leader or they might be in HR and think, hey, it'd be great for Dora to come into our organisation. What's the first step?
Yeah, so you've got my email address just up on the screen now, dora@hrgurus.com.au. Send me an email and we can start a conversation. We've got a couple of programs through HR Gurus that we run that are quite tailored, but, we're very open to listening first to what people need, and then, making sure that what we offer them back actually aligns towards their solution, to make sure that there's a solution to their problem.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's not one size fits all solution based problem solving. It's really dealing with the individuals and them supporting themselves.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being a guest today. It's been really insightful. I've learnt a lot. And I love that you're just so real and say it as it is. I think anyone would be so privileged to be able to work with you.
I learnt from the best, Maureen Pound.
Excellent. Thanks, Dora.
Thanks a lot, Maureen. Thanks for having me. Bye.
So if you'd like to see more interviews with amazing business owners sharing extraordinary insights, click subscribe, then click the bell button, then click all, and we'll notify you.